There comes a point in every man's life when a quiet unease sets in. He wakes up, stares into the mirror, and sees not just his reflection, but a question staring back at him. Is this all there is? Day after day, he follows the same routine. Work, eat, distract himself with screens. Yet deep inside, something feels empty. Society has drilled into him that success is measured in wealth, status, or pleasure, but no matter how much he chases, the feeling of fulfillment remains out of reach. Why? Because a man without purpose is like a ship without direction, drifting aimlessly, vulnerable to every storm life throws his way. History's strongest men, the warriors, the philosophers, the leaders who carved their names into time, didn't just exist, they lived with meaning. They didn't chase distractions, they pursued something greater than themselves. So if you feel stuck, if your days feel like they're blending into one another, if you wake up uncertain of where you're going, then you need this message. Today, we strip away the noise, break free from illusions, and begin the journey that most men never dare to take, discovering your true purpose as a strong, stoic man. But before we begin, take a moment to drop a comment below. What's the biggest challenge holding you back from finding your purpose? Your answer could be the first step toward changing everything. Let's get started. 1. The foundation of purpose. Why struggle is the greatest teacher. Most men today fear discomfort. They avoid pain, seek shortcuts, and chase comfort at all costs. Society has conditioned them to believe that the easiest path is the best one, that success should come quickly without sacrifice, and that struggle is a sign of failure rather than growth. But history tells a different story. Every man who has ever achieved greatness, every leader, every philosopher, every warrior who left a mark on this world, did so not because they avoided hardship, but because they embraced it. Marcus Aurelius was not handed wisdom on a silver platter. His reign as Rome's last great emperor was marked by war, betrayal, and relentless adversity. Yet rather than complaining about his struggles, he used them as fuel. Through his meditations, he taught us that suffering is not the enemy, it is the raw material from which strength is built. Epictetus, born into slavery, could have remained bitter, resentful, and broken by his chains. Instead, he transformed his suffering into wisdom, becoming one of the most influential Stoic philosophers in history. His hardships did not define him, they refined him. Now ask yourself, what defines you? Do you run from struggle? Do you seek the easy way out? Or do you recognize that every challenge, every failure, and every hardship is shaping you into the man you are destined to become? The truth is, without struggle, there is no growth. Imagine a man who never faces adversity. He wakes up each day in comfort, never tested, never challenged. He does not know what it means to fight for something, to endure, to overcome. What kind of man does he become? Weak, passive, unfulfilled, because without struggle, he remains stagnant. And a stagnant man is a purposeless man. Look at nature. The strongest trees are the ones that have endured the harshest storms. The tallest mountains were formed by the relentless pressure of time and elements. The sharpest swords were forged in the hottest fires. You are no different. Every setback you've faced, every moment of doubt, every painful experience, it all serves a purpose. It is shaping you, refining you, preparing you for something greater, but only if you allow it to. The weak man avoids pain, convinced that life should be easy. He complains when things don't go his way, curses his misfortunes, and wonders why success feels out of reach. The Stoic man does the opposite. He does not fear hardship, he welcomes it. He sees pain as a teacher, failure as a mentor, and struggle as the price of becoming stronger. So the next time life tests you, when you lose, when you fail, when you suffer, don't waste time complaining. Don't wish for an easier road. Instead, stand firm, look your struggles in the eye, and ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me? Because within that lesson lies the foundation of your true purpose. 2. The power of solitude. Why you must master your own mind. Most men today cannot sit in silence for even 5 minutes without feeling uneasy. The moment there is a pause, they instinctively reach for their phones, turn on the TV, or scroll through endless distractions. It's not just a habit, it's an addiction, a deep-seated fear of being alone with their own thoughts. Society has conditioned them to believe that constant stimulation equals productivity, that being busy means being important, and that silence is something to be avoided rather than embraced. But here's the unfiltered truth. A man who cannot be alone cannot truly know himself. And a man who does not know himself will never discover his purpose. Throughout history, the strongest and most influential men understood that solitude was not a weakness, it was a weapon. The great Stoic philosophers, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, deliberately spent time in deep contemplation, cutting themselves off from distractions to reflect on life's deepest questions. The samurai of Japan followed a strict code of Bushido, dedicating hours to meditation and self-discipline, understanding that mastering the mind was just as important as mastering the sword. Even in modern times, the most successful leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries all share a common habit. They make time to think. If you feel lost, if you don't know what your purpose is, the first step is not to seek more external validation, it is to turn inward. You must master your own mind. Purpose is not something the world hands to you, it is something you discover within yourself. But that discovery requires silence. It requires you to step away from distractions and confront the thoughts you've been avoiding. Start by making solitude a daily practice. No phone, no noise, no interruptions, just you and your thoughts. In those moments, ask yourself the hard questions. What do I truly want in this life? Am I living according to my own values, or am I just following what society expects of me? What am I most afraid of, and why? What am I willing to dedicate my life to? The weak man drowns himself in distractions, numbing his mind so he never has to face these questions. He fears solitude because he is afraid of what he might find. But the Stoic man, the man who seeks true strength, embraces solitude. He understands that only in silence can he hear the answers that have been buried beneath the noise of daily life. If you want to build a strong, meaningful life, you must first build a strong, disciplined mind. And that begins with the courage to sit alone, to think deeply, and to listen to the voice inside you that has been trying to guide you all along. Because clarity, purpose, and strength, they are not found in the noise, they are found in the quiet. 3. Discipline over motivation. The path to true mastery. Motivation is a fleeting, unreliable force. It's like the weather. Sometimes it's sunny, full of energy and inspiration, and other times it's stormy and cold, leaving you feeling drained and uninspired. The problem is that most men build their lives around this transient force. They wait for the perfect moment, for the wave of inspiration to strike before they take action. But here's the harsh truth. Motivation is not the key to success. It's a fleeting spark that cannot be relied upon to carry you through the long, hard journey of self-mastery. The greatest men in history did not wake up every day filled with the fiery passion to achieve their goals. They didn't wait for motivation to push them to act. Instead, they relied on something far more powerful: discipline. Discipline is what made them great. Whether they felt inspired or not, whether they were tired or full of energy, they stuck to their routine, their commitment, their purpose. They understood that greatness is not a matter of passion alone. It is the result of consistent, deliberate action taken every day, no matter how they felt. Take the Spartan warriors, for example. They were not born with an unstoppable drive or motivation. They became legendary warriors through years of rigorous training, discipline, and sacrifice. They followed a strict code of conduct that left no room for excuses. Even when they didn't feel like it, they trained. Even when they were exhausted, they pushed forward. And that is why they became the most feared soldiers in history. Motivation alone would not have carried them to that level of mastery. Discipline, above all else, was the bedrock upon which their success was built. The same principle applies to you. If you are constantly waiting for motivation to push you into action, you are setting yourself up for failure. Motivation will not always be there when you need it. Some days you will wake up tired, uninspired, or frustrated. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never accomplish anything of true meaning. Motivation is too unreliable. Discipline, on the other hand, is unwavering. It doesn't care about your mood or your circumstances. It operates whether you're excited or not. It is the foundation of mastery in any field, whether it's physical fitness, mental fortitude, or building a successful life. The moment you stop waiting for motivation to strike and instead build a life around disciplined action, you'll begin to see real change. Start by establishing a routine that doesn't depend on your emotions. It doesn't matter whether you feel motivated or tired. Set your alarm early, even on the days when you want to sleep in. Get out of bed, even when you'd rather lay there. Train your body, your mind, your soul, even when every fiber of your being is telling you to rest. Read and study, even when Netflix is calling your name. Work on something meaningful every single day, no exceptions. Discipline is about showing up whether you feel like it or not. The true strength of discipline is its ability to carry you through the inevitable moments of weakness. The days when your body aches, when your mind wants to give up, when the world seems to be against you. Discipline says, no matter how I feel, I will continue, because my purpose is greater than my excuses. A weak man makes excuses. He finds reasons to put things off, to procrastinate, to avoid the hard work. He waits for the perfect time for motivation to strike. He tells himself, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm not in the right mood today. But the Stoic man does not give in to these temptations. He knows that true success comes from actions, not emotions. The Stoic embraces discomfort because he understands that discomfort is the path to growth. The Stoic faces challenges with an unwavering commitment to his discipline, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, brings him closer to mastery. Imagine if the most successful people in the world waited for motivation to act. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. None of these men would have achieved their incredible successes if they had waited to feel inspired before putting in the work. They built their empires through a relentless commitment to their routines and their goals. And if you want to be successful in anything you do, you must adopt the same mindset. You must realize that success is not an event, it is a process. And that process requires unshakable discipline. To truly find your purpose, stop waiting for motivation to come to you. Create a life where your actions are not based on whether or not you feel like doing them. Discipline will give you the strength to continue, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. And in time, you'll find that your discipline becomes your source of motivation. It becomes the rhythm of your life, the driving force that propels you forward, even when the world tries to push you back. Because your purpose is not something that happens in a moment of inspiration. It is something you create through consistent, disciplined action, day after day, no matter what. And in that process, you will discover that true mastery comes not from waiting for motivation, but from mastering the habit of relentless action. 4. Serving a higher cause. Why purpose is bigger than you. A man who lives solely for himself will always find his life lacking. He may accumulate wealth, status, and comfort. But deep within, there will always be a void. This emptiness comes from the same reason why self-centered living ultimately falls short of fulfillment. True purpose is never self-serving. The essence of a meaningful life lies in serving something greater than yourself. Throughout history, the men who changed the world were not driven by selfish desires, but by a higher cause. Alexander the Great, for example, did not embark on his conquests for personal glory alone. He sought to unite the known world, to create a lasting empire that could bring about peace and cultural exchange among disparate peoples. His vision was far greater than his personal ambition. His purpose was to forge a legacy that would outlive him, shaping the course of history. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors of Rome, did not rule for the pleasures of power. His reign was not about enriching himself or indulging in luxuries. He ruled with wisdom, seeking to preserve and strengthen the Roman Empire for the benefit of its citizens and future generations. He famously said that the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. His purpose was tied to service, not to self-interest. His meditations were not about how to gain more, but how to serve with honor and wisdom. The samurai of Japan, the warriors who upheld the Bushido code, are another prime example of men living for a higher cause. They did not live for personal gain or glory. They dedicated their lives to their families, their clans, and their country. They sacrificed their personal desires to serve a greater purpose. Their very identity was tied to the honor of their ancestors and the protection of those they loved. To the samurai, their purpose was a lifelong commitment to duty, loyalty, and sacrifice. The Stoics, too, teach us this vital truth. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, emphasized the importance of serving a cause greater than oneself. He wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." For Epictetus, the pursuit of wisdom and virtue was a higher calling, not merely for personal benefit, but to contribute to the betterment of society. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius emphasized that living a life of virtue, wisdom, and service is the highest calling a man can have. They saw life not as a quest for personal pleasure or fleeting satisfaction, but as an opportunity to serve a purpose larger than themselves. So, ask yourself, what is your purpose? What is the higher cause to which you can dedicate your life? It is easy to get caught up in the pursuit of personal desires, money, status, comfort. But these things are fleeting. They do not bring lasting fulfillment. In fact, chasing after them often leaves you feeling emptier than before. True fulfillment comes when you shift your focus from "what do I want" to "how can I serve?" When you begin to serve a cause larger than yourself, something shifts within you. You will no longer measure your success by how much wealth or status you've acquired. Instead, your fulfillment will come from knowing that you are contributing to something meaningful. It could be a cause that helps others, a community that you are building, a family that you protect, or a principle that you live by. The Stoic philosophers teach that our happiness and fulfillment come from living in accordance with nature and reason, and serving a greater purpose is part of that. The pursuit of virtue, the development of character, and the act of serving others are all part of living in harmony with the universe. The Stoic sage is one who does not seek personal gain, but seeks to live in a way that benefits society as a whole. This is why Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the world, spent his days meditating on how best to serve the empire and the people under his rule, rather than indulging in luxury or self-interest. If you want to find your true purpose, look beyond your own desires. Think about the impact you want to leave on the world. What legacy do you want to build? How will the world be different because you existed? These are not easy questions to answer, but they are the questions that lead to a life of true fulfillment. When you shift your focus from self-interest to service, you will find a deeper sense of meaning in everything you do. Start small, serve your community, be a role model for those around you, teach, mentor, and inspire others. Commit yourself to something greater than your personal desires, and over time, you will find that this higher calling will bring more fulfillment than anything else you could chase. The men who have left a lasting legacy were not those who lived for themselves. They were the ones who lived for something bigger than their own life, something that transcended their individual existence. The Stoics also remind us that our time on this earth is limited, and we should not waste it on trivial pursuits. The more you serve others, the more you will find your own purpose. In fact, true joy comes from living a life of service to others. As Seneca wrote, "No man has a right to waste the days that are given to him." So, ask yourself, how are you spending your time? What can you give to the world that will leave a lasting mark? Purpose is not about the material things you accumulate, it's about the legacy you create, the people you serve, and the lives you touch. A life of service to others is a life of true fulfillment. So think about what matters most to you and how you can contribute to it. When you dedicate your life to something greater than yourself, you will never feel lost. You will know deep in your soul that your life has meaning. As you reflect on this, remember that the most powerful men in history, those who changed the world and left a lasting legacy, did not do it for themselves. They did it because they were driven by something far greater than their own desires. If you want to find your purpose, you must look beyond yourself and dedicate your life to a cause that transcends your own existence. This is the true path to fulfillment. 5. The unbreakable mindset, living with purpose until your last breath. Purpose is not a fleeting goal that you pursue for a short time, only to discard it when it no longer excites you. It is not something to be put down when the struggles grow too intense or when the distractions of life begin to cloud your focus. No, purpose is a lifelong commitment, a driving force that demands your devotion, your resilience, and your unwavering commitment until your final breath. The strongest men in history have lived with purpose until the very end, and their legacies serve as reminders that true greatness is achieved not by abandoning your purpose, but by relentlessly pursuing it. Consider Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the vast Roman Empire through wars, plagues, and political unrest. Despite the turmoil surrounding him, he stayed true to his purpose, to serve Rome with honor and wisdom. He didn't allow his circumstances to define him or lead him astray from his mission. Even in his later years, as he faced personal suffering and the challenges of an empire on the brink of collapse, he continued to embody Stoic virtues. His meditations were a testament to his commitment to purpose, written in the midst of war, reflecting his unwavering resolve to lead with integrity, no matter the hardship. Marcus Aurelius didn't stop his work when things got difficult. He leaned into his purpose and used the adversity as fuel for his mission. Then there's the genius of Leonardo da Vinci, a man whose insatiable curiosity and quest for knowledge didn't stop until his final days. Da Vinci dedicated his life to mastering not just one discipline, but many, from art to engineering, from anatomy to mathematics. His passion for knowledge and his desire to understand the world never wavered, even as he neared the end of his life. Da Vinci's purpose wasn't tied to a single moment or achievement. It was an unyielding dedication to the pursuit of mastery and wisdom, a purpose he never abandoned, even in the face of personal struggles. He lived with purpose until the very last breath. The samurai, too, exemplified this unbreakable mindset. Their code, Bushido, was a life philosophy that they adhered to until death. The samurai were bound by principles of loyalty, honor, courage, and self-discipline. They did not live for fleeting pleasures or temporary rewards. Their purpose was to serve their families, their clans, and their communities. Even in the face of death, they did not waver from their commitment to their code. They believed that to live with honor meant to die with honor, and thus their purpose was something that transcended their own existence. It was something they carried with them from birth to death. What about you? Do you approach life with that same unbreakable mindset? Or do you abandon your purpose when times get tough, when distractions arise, when motivation fades? Every man will face struggles. Every man will face hardship. But it is not the absence of struggle that defines your purpose. It is how you respond to it. Purpose is not something you chase for a few years and then abandon when the going gets tough. It is a lifelong pursuit. It is a commitment to living a life of discipline, of service, and of meaning until the very end. You must cultivate an unbreakable mindset. A mindset that says, no more excuses. No more telling yourself that you'll start tomorrow or when the time is right. No more distractions. Stop allowing the trivial things in life to pull you away from your true purpose. No more waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. The moment is now. Every day is an opportunity to walk your path with strength. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice. Will you live with purpose today? Will you dedicate yourself to something greater than fleeting comforts? Will you take steps towards building something meaningful that will outlast you? Or will you allow distractions, doubt, and complacency to steal your time? If you want to live a life of purpose, you must choose discipline over distractions. Every day you must commit to your mission, to your calling, regardless of how you feel. Whether you feel motivated or not, whether you face obstacles or smooth sailing, your purpose should remain your North Star. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up every day feeling inspired to rule an empire, but he did it anyway, because his purpose was bigger than his personal feelings. Leonardo da Vinci didn't wake up every day feeling inspired to pick up a paintbrush or design a new machine, but his purpose drove him to keep pushing forward day after day. The man without purpose is a man without direction. He is a ship lost at sea, drifting aimlessly. If you have ever felt lost, unsure of your direction in life, know this. Your purpose is not something you stumble upon or find by accident. It is something you create through struggle, solitude, discipline, service, and, most importantly, unwavering commitment. Purpose is something you must build every single day. It doesn't just appear, you must forge it through your actions. So, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let it slip through your fingers like so many things in life that are forgotten and abandoned? Or will you take action right now to begin living with purpose? Will you commit yourself to a life of discipline, honor, and service, just as the great men of history did? Your time is now. Don't wait. Don't make excuses. Live your purpose today and every day until your last breath. If you found value in this message, I urge you to take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. By doing so, you not only support this channel, but you also contribute to the spread of wisdom and knowledge that will challenge the status quo and help others unlock their potential. Stay strong, stay stoic, and never stop walking your path. Your purpose is waiting for you to commit to it fully